Okay. Peace to the gods, peace to the gods. Yusuf El here with another video. I want to talk now about compelled vaccination, which is going to be a subject that's going to, I think, is going to crop its head in the following months to come. And I came across a video on YouTube with Larry King and Alan Dershowitz. And I want to bring to everybody's attention, both these gentlemen are Jewish. I'm going to keep on pointing this point out. Both of them are Jewish. You know, Alan Dershowitz, he was born in Williamsburg, Brooklyn on September 1st, 1938, the son of Claire and Harry Dershowitz, an Orthodox Jewish couple. So, you know, he's definitely Jewish. And of course, you know, Larry King is a Jew. In this discussion, he raises an interesting point about how the government can force you to take a vaccination for the public safety. Of course, they're using compelled public interest to force you to do things. Now, he's going to cite a case in here. The name of the case is Jacobson versus Massachusetts, volume 197, U.S. Reporter, page 11, and the year is 1905. He's a constitutional expert. And after he gives his commentary, what we're going to do, we're going to take a look at the case, and I'm going to point out some of the salient, important points of the case that they don't ever point out to you. Okay, and it's about status, and this is about status and things of that nature, all right? So let's listen to him, and then I'm going to give you some commentary afterwards.
Shifting now to coronavirus. There's no vaccine yet. You appeared recently and said it would be okay for the government to force us to be vaccinated.
Yeah.
You back that up legally?
Yes. If the vaccine is safe and effective and necessary. Remember, the government could never force you to take a vaccine to protect yourself. If they developed a vaccine against heart disease or cancer, you and I, Larry, would take that vaccine because we wanted to, but they couldn't make us do it because it only protects us. But if a vaccine is designed to protect us against typhoid Mary walking down the street and infecting us, the government has the right to compel that. Supreme Court decision, 1905, Jacobson versus Massachusetts, smallpox vaccination, and the government was permitted to compel. Many states have done the same thing. You can condition allowing kids to come to public school on having been vaccinated against contagious diseases, but we have to make sure the vaccine is safe, effective, tested, and that there are exemptions for people who have medical conditions that would make them uniquely vulnerable. But there's no room for religious objection, because if a policy is universal, the Constitution doesn't require religious exemptions. It only says you can't discriminate against religion, which is why you can't order churches closed, but you can order anything closed that has more than a certain number of people in attendance, and that would include churches.
Okay. Now, as I mentioned earlier, he mentioned the case Jacobson versus Massachusetts, volume 197, U.S. Reporter, page 11, year 1905. And I found it on Justia's website, U.S. Supreme Court case. And I'm going to read through this to you now. There's some words that I want you to pay particular attention to that you have to know in order to understand a case like this. And that is territory, the definition of liberty. Those are just some of the words, some of the two important words that you need to, that we're going to take a look at. Now, I'm going to read the syllabus of this case, and I want you to pay particular attention to the jurisdictional elements that are going to be implied all throughout this reading. They're not going to be expressly implied. It's going to be implied by the way the judge states it. Now let's go on. It says, the United States does not derive any of its substantive powers from the preamble of the Constitution. It cannot exert any power to secure the declared objects of the Constitution unless, apart from the preamble, such power be found in or can properly be implied from some express delegation in the instrument. While the spirit of the Constitution is to be respected not less than its letter, the spirit is to be collected chiefly from its words. While the exclusion of evidence in the state court in a case involving the constitutionality of a state statute may not strictly present a federal question, This court may consider the rejection of such evidence upon the ground of incompetency or immateriality under the statute as showing its scope and meaning in the opinion of the state court. The police power of a state embraces such reasonable regulations relating to matters completely within its territory and not affecting the people of other states, established directly by legislative enactment as will protect the public health and safety. While a local regulation, even if based on the acknowledged police power of a state, must always yield in case of conflict with the exercise by the general government of any power it possesses under the Constitution, the mode or manner of exercising its police power is wholly within the discretion of the state, so long as the Constitution of the United States is not contravened, or any right granted or secured thereby is not infringed, or not exercised in such an arbitrary and oppressive manner as to justify the interference of the courts to prevent wrong and oppression. The liberties secured by the Constitution of the United States does not import an absolute right in each person to be at all times and in all circumstances wholly freed from restraint, nor is it an element in such liberty that one person or minority of persons residing in any community and enjoying the benefits of its local government should have power to dominate the majority when supported in their action by the authority of the state. Now, this is the paragraph right here. So we can see a couple of words. We can see liberty right there. All right. We can also see person to be at all times. All right. Absolute right. And all circumstances free from restraint. All right. Liberty that one person or minority residing in a community and enjoying what? Benefits of its local government. Okay. See, this is what I'm trying to say. When you're taking on benefits and privileges, you fall under their authority. And when you read case law, when I'm listening to this guy talk, I already know to go read the case myself because I already said, okay, well, what is giving them jurisdiction? That is always my question. Okay, this is a free country. If you're going to force me to do something, you have to have jurisdiction. There's always the question of jurisdiction. And we give them jurisdiction in some kind of way. And it's always through some sort of contract, and express or implied. And in this case, there's an implied contract due to your conduct. And the conduct is you enjoying benefits of the local government. So they have the authority to come in and force you. Okay, now this is also something as well. Like we were taught in the 90s, never to live in the inner cities. And Lindsey Williams, he also said this. He said he noticed that none of the elites live in the city. He said none of them. None of the elites live in the city.
Is Chaplain, please tell us something about the elite. Well, I will. And this is where I began. First of all, a few years ago, someone said, where do the elite live? Well, you need to know this because if you're going to prepare for the New World Order, you need to know how the elite have prepared. So I called one of my elitist friends and I said, where's Mr. So-and-so? You know, I knew him years ago, but I didn't know where he is now. And he told me. And then I said, well, where is this gentleman? And then I said, where's that gentleman? And I called a number of the people that I had their phone numbers, whom I call the elite, the super wealthy, the people who behind closed doors determine your life before you ever know what's going to happen to you. And I said, I'd like to know, where do you live? You know what I found out? Not a single elitist, whom I would call the super wealthy, the people who are in the controlling powers of the world, not a single one of them have their primary residence in a metropolitan area. Isn't that amazing? They know something. And I hope you're getting the information now also. They all, oh yeah, they may have their penthouses in New York and Washington, but their primary residence, every one of them live in a rural area.
None of the elites live in the city. And we were told not to reside in the cities as well, that you should move out of the city. Everybody feels like they want to live inside the city. Living in the city is what gives you jurisdiction. You're taking benefits and privileges from the local government. You got to remove yourself. This is what when you look at the Amish, and you begin to understand why they live the way they do, because they don't want to receive any benefits or privileges from government. And that's what you're going to have to understand. This is what's going to lead you into having a confrontation with these people. Now, these people are going to fine you $2,000 for every incident where you infringe, when you interfere, when they're trying to make you take these vaccinations and you don't. Back here, and during this time, there was also a penalty. There was a penal sum attached to your refusal to do it. I think it was like $5 or something like that. But today, it's going to be $2,000. All right, it's going to be $2,000. All right, so this is also why you need to be a secure party so you can shut off the debt, because they bankrupt entities. They don't have the capacity to make claims against anybody other than the person, which is their straw man. Okay, because that is a bankrupt entity. But you in your private capacity, they can never make a claim against you. Okay, so I just wanted to point this out because this case is going to be central to their reason and rationale for being able to force you into taking a vaccine. And you got to understand that, no, it's not all encompassing. It's not like, okay, I have to take this vaccine. You have an option. You have an option of moving out the city, of removing yourself from their jurisdiction, physically and also at law as it relates to your person. So I just want to bring this to your attention so you can be well aware of this. All right. Peace to the gods. I'm out.